just finished reading the biggest book I've read this year. "534 pages. Fingerprints of the Gods", originally published 2001. As impressed as I am by the book, it also often tries to join dots that may not actually be meant to be joined. Artifacts that have been found suddenly have a connection simply because no one can understand how each individual one came about. That Aztec calendar, the pyramids of Giza. The pyramids are the most fascinating one. It's clear that they were set in a time, a particular time, and meant to be set in a time, and the only way to read that is to know how that time is framed. By that I mean the procession of the stars takes 26,000 years. Blah blah, blah blah. Where it doesn't go, where these books haven't gone, is mentioning that in every case when there's discussions in history about cataclysms and the end of the world and great floods, it always blames the excess of man, like a warning. Whereas in fact, these events are regular in the age of Earth, in terms of the age of the Earth. Every 13,000 years there's going to be an ice age, for example. Every now and again a comet is going to hit, an asteroid is going to hit. The crust, the outer crust of the Earth will shift. Even the poles, north and south, will shift, reverse. It happens. These things do happen, irrespective of the behaviour of any animal on the planet. I know we've been bastards, but that's another point. In terms of how we treated ourselves as well as other life forms, we've been, well, same as always. There's nothing new. One thing I have managed to centre on is how young we are. 5,000 years at the most, in terms of staying in one place. That word, civilization, barely 5,000 years, if that. As you know, only the last 300 at the very most, in industrial terms. So that struck me as how young we are, and therefore how the same we are as those 36,000 years ago who drew moving pictures on cave walls in colour. South of France, those cave walls in south of France, we're the same. There are certain technological advances that have enabled more people to live for more longer. sewage systems, the most obvious one. Soap, of course, they're often cited as a great invention. But apart from that, apart from Einstein, Shakespeare, the odd blip here and there, we are of the same mind as those fellas 36,000 years ago. They drew pictures, moving pictures. You could see them moving on the cave walls. But there were, I don't think there's any doubt, there was an intervention in terms of our lostness by a civilization who themselves saw their end coming at the end of the Ice Age, the last Ice Age. They had to intervene with primitive man and start getting us on the road to civilization. But so I think it's wrong to think that we can affect these global changes, global climate changes. But that's not to be pessimistic, because that should be a reason not for barbarity. I know the right-wing fellas and women would love that. I mean, for it to be, we can't do anything, so let's be barbaric, without using the word, of course. It's actually an opportunity for us to say, okay, just like poor people do, have done, can do. It's how you treat each other that makes us feel wealthy, helping each other out. Poor people know that, have known that. That makes you feel good about your life. So no matter how much material wealth we have, or how much control or power you think we have, if you're empty inside because you're not connecting with people, connecting with where you are, there's no point. I'd like to think that positive attitude would affect the conscience of the globe, if you like. If it's got a conscience, it would switch off the storms. It's a nice thought, you know. But even if it isn't true, you're still going forward in a life-affirming manner. What's wrong with that? Thought to tell you. We can't do nothing about global catastrophes. Global climate, yes, we can affect. Pollution is a problem. Can we still use that word, pollution? We can be more sympathetic to where we live. That's not, as well as being facing the fact that oil and gas and coal will run out eventually. It's only because of what's it called? Fragging. You force it through the rock. That one. That's extended the life of petrol. I'm gonna finish this. Or at least made it as cheap as it used to be. I'm not allowing for the epidemic that's upon us at the moment. But So, dual thing there. Yes, no, we can't affect the planet. Yes, we can affect ourselves, which in itself may affect the well-being of all things on the planet. And it's not, we're not the only things here. And that's, again, that's a way of feeling good. We've got to get away from this consuming mentality. Barbaric, it is barbaric. It is violent in its manner. I'm still not sure what to do about excess wealth, which is perverse. It is perverse to own so much. I'm still kicking the ball around with that one. But mainly, it's up to us. Don't be afraid to speak, to think, to converse, even with yourself. Get away from the social mores. That's very helpful. Fingerprints of the gods. It's language, you know. Language. There's more. There's definitely more.